I'm Matt McCourt, your host here on this podcast called Tell Me About It. Tell me about it, hey. And tonight, my guest is the fabulous rock star drummer, Deen Castronovo. He's been my friend since 1982. We were in Wild Dogs together. We were in Dr. Mastermind together. And I got him a job with Tony McAlpine during that time. And he's played with Marty Friedman and Ozzy Osbourne, Bad English, Hardline. He's been Journey's drummer for 25 years. I'm really happy to be talking to him and seeing him. He's the only guy that called me in the hospital when I had a stroke. So I love him like a brother, and you will too. And this is just a glimpse of what fun this guy had. We had a lot of fun, and so we're going to cut right to that now. So here's Deen Castronovo from Journey, going on tour this summer for stadiums with Def Leppard, Heart, Steve Miller, and Cheap Trick. What a lineup. So that'll be the tour of the summer. And I'm really proud to have him on here. I'm glad that he got a chance to be in the big time. The first time I saw him, I just knew this guy was amazing. And he told me many times, Matty, I hope I make it before I get old and burn out. He did. And I'm glad to have been part of it.
Wow,
so check this out.
Oh,
it's Louie.
You had another kid. Hey, Louie.
I'm quiet. Look at my hair, dude. I just got a cut, so it's in weird mode. Oh, what are you doing?
Talking to you.
Awesome, Matty. Awesome. Let's do this.
I did a podcast last night with Terry Wickham, a film director that makes horror films he was originally from Seattle, and he used to come and see us. And
awesome.
He also does a YouTube channel, and he has a drum thing, and he'd love to have you on, and also he does a guitar thing. Mike Barney's going to be on the show.
And Mikey. Awesome.
I talked to Mike quite a bit. Texas.
Yeah, he's a good man, dude.
Yeah. He
awesome.
Without him, we wouldn't be. We just
no. Well, without you and him. Let's just be honest here.
The first time, remember, Kip and I and Jay went to see you at Eli's after Kip went the first night and called us all up and said, "You got to go see this drummer. He's amazing. He's like 16 years old. He's as good as Neil Peart." And I go, "Okay." Oh. So we went down there.
Okay, let's check it out.
And then I had, I had that jacket with flies on it.
Yes, dude. You know what, dude? I remember sitting by the sound or by the speakers, the sounds, the PA. I was just sitting there, and you came walking up. You were talking to me about this band, Wild Dogs, and stuff. And I was like, "Well, that would be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool." It was, man, it changed my life. I mean, shit.
But we did the Malice demos before that.
And remember what happened when you touched that guy's hair. Remember when you touched Jay's hair?
Don't touch me. If you value our friendship, you'll never you'll never touch my hair again.
Good times, bro. Good times.
Yeah, and then we did the Malice demo the next week.
Yeah.
And
I remember that, dude.
I mean, Jay wanted you to join really bad, but the reason me and Kip played on it was when I did my first album, The Ravers, in 1980. Yep. At the release party, Jay brought James Neal and Mick Zane, Mike Landauer, and
I remember. Is Mick the big tall guy?
Yeah,
like 6'8",
6'4", I think. He died a few years ago.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry, didn't know that.
He had brain cancer. He used to work on a lot of movies, and he passed out one day and then found out he had brain cancer. So we were in the kitchen. There's a big party. Kenny G was at the party. Tom Grant, all these jazz guys. The Tower of Power horn section was there because they were on this label too. And we were in the kitchen drinking a few beers. And when James drinks, a couple of beers, it's like he goes nuts. So
yeah,
he drank one of those KB lagers, like those big cans, and then goes out in the backyard. We don't see him for like 25 minutes.
That's about right.
He comes back in, stark naked and covered in this brown stuff, and it smelled. And I go, just like Keith Moon, I go, "Oh dear boy, that's a very natural aromatic scent you have on. You have to tell me, what is that body cream? He said, I took a shit.
It's pungent. Had a pungent odor.
I took a shit and rolled in it.
Oh.
And he opened up the fridge, grabbed another beer, drank the beer, and I said, oh, I think that's probably, the best thing I've seen for skin in years. And he looked at all of us, and it freaked Mike Landauer out. And so James took off and ran out the door. It was February and just snowed. Totally naked, running down the street like the world's greatest athlete. And Paul Kearney said, oh, I better go get him. He's going to get in trouble. And so he picked him up, and he told me he couldn't get the smell out of his car, but Mike didn't want to play with him after that. So that's why.
I'm sure he would.
Well, he did it when they were on tour with Slayer. Slayer used to tell him, you're in a crappy band, man. That's stupid clothes. They get him drunk. And he took all of his clothes off in Europe. And, and back then, you played like out in the country. So he went out, and they didn't see him the whole night. Came back the next day, covered in sheep shit. And the band had to drive like 3 hours with him in the back seat smelling like poop.
That's a nice odor. It's a really nice odor.
Very natural aroma. So speaking of you, man, you blew us all away when I saw you. It's like, oh, and he sings too. You were playing "Shoot Shoot" by UFO, and you used double bass.
I remember that too.
And I thought, I finally liked this song.
Yeah. And I wasn't a big UFO fan. The only reason we played is because John, the guitarist, loved Michael Schenker. So it was all about me. Well, play Michael Schenker. So it was all about Michael Schenker. I was never a UFO fan, but John loved Mikey, so that's why we played those tunes. But I wasn't a big fan. I mean, I didn't get it. I was too young, man. It was Kiss. I mean, UFO was a '70s band. I was too young. I was just a kid, so I didn't quite get weaned on that shit. I wasn't weaned on UFO and Zeppelin and all that stuff. I started getting. When in the 80s, that's when I started like really getting into music and stuff really heavy. I mean, I like the Rush stuff and all that, but I was still a little too young. And UFO was more of like an early 70s, wasn't it? Like 74, 75, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't remember much of that. I was 10. So that wasn't quite in my wheelhouse at that point.
Yeah, but you started early.
Yeah, I did. But that, like, again, that stuff was, I don't know what it was. So tunnel vision on Kiss, it didn't even matter. Nothing mattered. It was Kiss in the world,
Yeah, Kiss was like Slayer back then. They were scary. I saw them the first time with Rush at the Paramount, and the next time I saw them at the Coliseum with Cheap Trick opening. And man, they're amazing. And I had a great time. Some older woman, she was 24. I was 15. She came up, she put her arm around me, turned me around, started making out with me, and things happened. At the end of the night, I said, I gotta go catch the bus home. She said, we'll take you home. So we go out to her truck, and her husband drove me to my house, and then they came in, used the bathroom, and I love drum solos. So did she. She worked at Damish. She would call me all the time. But so you've been with Journey how long now? Altogether.
With my little break, I mean, it was 17 years and I had to take my little break. So if I would have stayed in, it would have been 25 years, almost 26 coming up.
Wow.
26 years, yeah. Long time, bro. Long time.
Neil's got you beat.
Yeah.
We saw
a few years.
We saw the original guitar. The Journey had a name before Journey, and they had another guitar player that actually started the band. We saw he died this year. He quit. He quit to go to medical school.
Yeah, George Tigner.
And the name of the band was really funny.
Was it Rumple Foreskin?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It was Rumple Foreskin, dude. Well, they were checking out names, and I guess it was some contest that they had with the radio station to name this band, and people were coming up with that, and Rumple Foreskin was one. I was like, that's a cool name, actually.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool. Yeah. Very cool.
And you put out another album with Revolution Saints.
Yeah, we've been doing that thing. That's been kind of fun. I mean, I got one more record with Revolution Saints, and I think we're going to finally call it quits. But yeah, we had 1, 2. Let me think. I got to remember how many. 1, 2, 3. Well, the next one will be our 5th record coming out. And that'll be out in January. Yeah, dude, we've been busy.
And
it's been good, but we never can tour, dude. There's no touring. I mean, you can't tour with the band because we're always working. I got Journey. Jeff's got freaking Foreigner, and Joel's got Whitesnake and Trans-Siberian. We don't have time. There's just no time. Schedules don't permit. So, and don't mind me walking around, dude. You know how I am. I'm a walker when I talk.
Oh, were you a hyperactive child?
No, I was not. I was very mellow. I was just a very, very young, mellow guy. Very, very mellow.
Mom would tell you stories and put you. Oh no, you're fun. Remember we went to San Francisco?
We were fun, dude. You and I were fun. And Jeffy was fun as he could be, because Jeff was, he was the business guy and he was the serious, and it was all very serious. No, I was just having a blast, man. Smoking weed and eating corn nuts and chocolate milk. That was what we did. And we played music.
We rode in the zoo van with Kip, me, and Taylor and Sean, the road crew, and the bong made out of a water bottle from a bike.
Dude, you remember that? It was Malcolm. We had Malcolm. He had a box, and Malcolm was our fish. And then we called him a fish. So when we were on the phone, we talked in code. It was like, hey, dude, do you have any fish poop for Malcolm? We were looking for some fish poop. I mean, that's what it was. So Malcolm had a little box, and his eyes were all red in the box. We painted a little picture of him on the box. It looks like he was like this. Like, yeah, that's Malcolm. He's all red-faced and red-eyed, and we had to feed him fish food.
And
good days.
We played at the old Waldorf, and at the gig you threw a cymbal out like Odd Job and James Bond, and you hit Danny, who was walking across the stage. You hit him right in the head, dropped him like a bad habit.
You know what it was, dude? It wasn't I threw it. I had those damn spring cymbal things. They were made of springs to keep it from so it would save the cymbals,
Break it,
and it didn't tighten up very tight. The one I had, and I hit it, and it was springing back and forth, right? And it flew right off and hit Danny. Good times.
And then
poor guy.
Later on that night, we were at the hotel, and Sean had fallen asleep.
Right.
And you El Marco did say.
Oh, dude, we put 666 on his forehead, the whole thing.
Kill me. And then his friend called and said, I'm at this Denny's about 30 miles up the road. Send him up here. Wake his ass up and send him here. Said, you jangled the key and said, dude, your friend's here. You got to go meet him. And he takes off.
Oh, my God.
And
dude.
Danny
I'll never forget it, dude, because he walked by a window and he saw it. He went, fucking Danny. He knew it was me. Everybody knew it was me.
Well, you've got an artistic style that can't be.
I got that thing, dude. I got that thing. Oh, man.
And then Danny was in a band with some 13-year-old girl, and so we went out there.
Was she 13?
She was too young to,
Dude, 13 will get you 20.
Well,
oh, my gosh.
Back then, it was like, normal.
I guess.
Oh my gosh. I was kind of drunk, and I said, come on, you guys, let's go sing. And Jeff and Jesse and Danny were,
remember we shook the van?
Yeah.
We shook the van and sang God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen or something like that?
We
Joy
said,
to the world has come, something like that.
We said, come all ye faithful.
Yeah, oh God,
come all you faithful, because Danny kept saying, don't tell my girlfriend. And what he didn't know, Kip was banging his girlfriend for months while he was at work.
You're kidding.
No.
You're kidding. What was the girlfriend's name? I forget her name.
Kelly.
Oh my God. Kelly, that's right. She was pretty. Pretty girl.
And one time Kip and I and him played at a party for all of Miss Oregon pageant. It was all girls except for us. And they were doing blow in the back. They were party out. That was a fun night. Danny, she got so drunk that Danny had to carry her out over his shoulder.
Dude, I wasn't in the band. Was I around there?
No,
I don't think I was around.
No, before that.
Way before. Way before me.
I mean,
way before.
But what's that FM radio or Radio Nation? Yeah, with the bass player from Chicago that sings that you were in.
Oh, Generation Radio. Yeah, it was with myself, Jason Sheff, and Jay DeMarcus from Rascal Flatts. Yeah, Jason was in Chicago. Yeah, it was, dude, it was a great band. I loved it. It was great music, but when Journey called, I couldn't pass it up. I mean, I just couldn't. I couldn't pass it up. I mean, this with Generation Radio, we're gonna have to start over, and those guys are great players, and I just couldn't pass it up, dude. I mean, they're like brothers to me, the Journey guys. So,
but
yeah.
You can't get into an elevator or a store. You can't turn on the TV without hearing a Journey song. And you sing so great. Didn't you sing the whole set for a while?
Well, I did one with Neil. We did a benefit concert with Greg Raleigh, myself, and Neil, and Marco Mendoza on bass. And it was called Journey Through Time. And it was all the old stuff that Journey doesn't play, because we have to do the hits when we're playing those big venues and stuff. So it was all the stuff that, pre-Steve Perry, a lot of the older stuff. And then some of the stuff with Perry and Raleigh when they would duet. But I ended up singing, I think it was like 24 songs, for that. And that was fun. No, dude, that was great.
That's a Journey I know. I saw Journey open for Blue Oyster Cult on July 4th, 1976.
Yeah, dude, that was that was the one that I was introduced to by guys that were like 24 and 25, and they were bringing me those records and having me learn this stuff. So I knew that stuff way before they were like pop sensations.
Greg Raleigh did his solo record when we were recording Man's Best Friend. He was in the studio during the day and we were at night. He was a nice guy. I liked him a lot.
Oh, I never met him, dude. I didn't meet him then. I mean, I back then I had no idea. All I remember was smoking Mooka's weed. He had great weed. Mooka, man. Wild Dog's all about corn nuts.
Well, you and me and the road crew, but Danny and Jeff was definitely into alcohol.
They were the drinkers. Yeah, they had the drunk band and they had the fun band.
The last night we were there, though, that hippie girl at the studio at Prairie Sun.
I remember her well.
Mushroom tea. And Danny drank some.
Oh, shut up. Did he?
Yeah, and we drove home that night.
Was he freaking out, bro? I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah,
I remember.
He was actually really fun that night.
Oh, my gosh. I don't remember that. I remember what he used to call weed. He'd call it weehawking. Remember? Yeah. Weehawking. I don't know where he got that, but it was funny. Remember he had his keychain? He had a keychain with a guy on it, a wrestler. I go, who is that guy? He goes, Mike. Mike who? He goes, Mike Ease. Mike Ease, Mike Keys. That's what his keychain was. He's like, he was funny, dude. He was funny. Yeah. I miss Danny.
Yeah, he died. I was working for Raven. I was helping him load in, and I got a call from Troy Stutzman, and he said, hey, Matt, Danny died.
Dude, I remember I was in Pasadena, at Pasadena Recovery. I was in my third stint of rehab, and when he passed, so that was kind of rough.
You let her in rehab.
Yeah. I'm the kid, no, dude. I'm good at playing drums, singing, and doing drugs. That was my thing, So thank God I got sobriety now. Thank God I got sobriety.
What great drummer isn't, though?
Neil Peart. He was the only one I knew that never did that kind of stuff. That I know of. I don't know.
I watch a lot of Rush documentaries, and those guys sound like fun guys. And
yeah,
especially
they never take it too seriously.
Alex Lifeson says he used to do the thing called the bag when they were on tour with Kiss. He put a laundry bag on, and he said he was laughing about this. Gene Simmons was trying to pick up these women, and I totally blew it for him. He said, but
well, of course you do.
The fun hotel room was Aces after the show.
I never saw that. I never got to see Aces. I never got to see Kiss.
It's on YouTube. Oh, really?
Wow. Well, I mean, I never saw him back. I saw him when I was 11. It was my drum teacher took me to see him. And it was Kiss and Rush and was it Cactus or Beck? I think it was Beck, Bogart, and Appice. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But I think it was Cactus or Vanilla Fudge, one of those bands that Carmine was in way back in the day. And that was at the Paramount in 1974, 5. Yeah, dude, back in the day. I think it was on the Dress to Kill tour for Kiss, but that's when Rush was on. I believe it was Caress of Steel. There's Caress of Steel tour, Fly By Night. I don't remember what, but I remember the guy had all these drums and played them all. And here's Peter Criss with all these drums and didn't do much with them at all. But he still was my hero, But then I saw, that's when the first time I was introduced to Rush, Matty. Yeah. And when I saw that, I was like, that's it. That's the king. I started following Neil Peart constantly. Everything he did, every record with the exception of the first one I had. I remember buying the first one and went, wait, this is not the same guy. Because and you could tell by the drumming, I was like, well, yeah, it's definitely not the same guy. But yeah, for me, that was it. After I saw that, I was like, I was still a big Kiss fan, but I was learning to play drums, listening to Neil. That was my thing.
Joe Fazzoleri and I would sit in my room and figure out the drum rolls. Like,
oh yeah,
dude,
yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah,
Bangkok and all this stuff.
Oh, I'm passing to Bangkok, dude. Yeah. I knew it was funny. The other day I was with a buddy of mine. He's my life coach, and his name is Troy. And we were in Palm Springs. He got a house in Palm Springs as well. He's here in Oregon, and he's done really well. But he put on, I don't remember what song. I think it was what record was it? Because he had all that stuff, and he just put it on, and I knew the songs. I mean, I think we were playing Hemisphere. He was playing it, and I was playing along to it on his dashboard. And he was just like, I remember all that stuff. Like, dude, it's ingrained into my psyche. That stuff I will never forget because those were my formative years. So I remember every lick. It was like, and I hadn't heard it in years. So that stuff was just stuck in me. Neil was such when he passed, dude, it screwed me up. It screwed me up bad because I was doing actually recording with Generation Radio. And they knew that he had passed, and they could tell I didn't know. I would have been freaking out, right? So they waited till the session was over and said, by the way, Neil passed away. And I sat down in the chair literally for like an hour and just sat. Didn't say a word, bro. Just sat thinking about it. Wow, man.
He was sick for a while, it seems like.
Yeah. And nobody knew, Matty. Nobody freaking knew.
He didn't tell
That's
anybody.
how cool that band was. Yeah, it's like, you know what? Whoever needs to know doesn't need to know, and we're just going to keep it like that. And, we're retiring because of his arthritis, and that's all we thought it was his arthritis that was the reason he was, calling it a day. But it wasn't. He was, we didn't know he was sick. I had no idea.
The more movies I see about Rush, the more I love the guys in the band. They've got a great sense of humor. Matt. I've got a friend of mine.
That's what I love too, Matt. That's what I love about you, though. You had that, you didn't take the whole thing so damn seriously. Like, we have to do this. We have to look a certain way. It's like, you know what, Matt? You're an entertainer, and you're fantastic as an entertainer and as a vocalist. I mean, you had a great sense of melody, Matty, but you entertained the crowd. It wasn't you just standing up there just freaking rocking back and forth and running around and doing the David Lee Roth. You were an entertainer, and that's what set us apart from every other band. We were ass kicking. We were ass kicking. You had the melodies, we had the songs, we had the hooks. But when we went on stage, dude, it was all about you. You and me.
Yeah, and sometimes I would turn around and I get lost watching you because you made Tommy Lee look lazy.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Oh, I was crazy. But the funny thing is, though, I look back and I think the chemistry that you and I and Jeff and Danny had was never matched again. It wasn't there. After you know what I'm saying? I mean, we had a thing, dude. And when Tejeda came in the band, that John guy, screwed up all the chemistry. But Jeff and I I still keep in touch with Jeffy. And we're actually working on a little project with Alan Seahorn, who just beat cancer, by the way, dude. He just beat it, kicked it. So proud of him, man. So he went through some hell. I don't know if you knew that or not, but Alan was, dude, it was bad. 52 weeks of chemo, that whole freaking thing. And he beat it. He's doing good. So I was over actually at Alan's house, who lives around the corner from me here. And with Jeff, and we were listening to songs and stuff and talking about the Dogs days. I had a chemistry with Jeff musically. You and I were freaking kindred spirits, but Jeff and I had a thing. I mean, when he would play a riff, I got it. You know what I mean? And I could come up with a really killer beats with his stuff because he's a very colorful player. It wasn't about speed and flash on guitar, dude. He had a color. A lot like Alex Lifeson. He reminded me of a freaking Alex Lifeson on steroids. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because the chordings and the phrasings, he just had the coolest chordings, the way he would chord stuff. It was just unbelievable. Dude, I might lose you. I've got about 6%, so let's keep going until my phone dies because I don't have my charger here.
When he first came over and destroyed Jamie's drum set.
Oh, yeah, he was happy about that. I felt bad.
You broke the kick pedal in half.
But I didn't know why. It's like, why is he using these crappy Ludwig drum heads? They were terrible drum heads.
Because he didn't hit them hard.
Thin. No, he didn't. Yeah, and I destroyed him the first day. I felt so bad.
And you go, hey, man, I got to go.
Yeah, look at the time. I got to run. Oh, dude, I knew he's going to be pissed.
You take it out.
I think I got him some new heads, didn't I? I think I ended up buying a new heads. I was actually a nice kid then.
I don't remember. But Jeff said,
I do. Yeah, I said,
I said, what do you think? And Jeff goes, he's too young. He's too fat. He doesn't
He's
make
too loud.
and overplays. And I said,
Yep.
I don't see anything wrong with any of those things.
What's wrong with that? You mean he's a good drummer?
The last thing he said was, and we'll never be able to control him. I go, that's a perfect drummer.
Dude, how many fat drummers do you know? John Bonham, fat drummer, greatest drummer on the planet. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Leonard Hayes from Y&T, big old guy, dude. He could play. That fucker could play.
Hey, do you know Mike? Do you know Mike Heller from Pure Factory?
I don't know him, but I know of him. I know he's playing. He's a great player.
He's playing with Raven now.
I know, dude, and he's a monster drummer, dude. I mean, anybody that can play the Fear Factory stuff like he did, man, because he was precise. He was like, you got Gene Hoglan who was playing. Gene is a monstrosity in his own right, dude. Gene Hoglan is unbelievable, and he had Hoglan stuff down. He knew it. He played it verbatim. And I don't know if you've listened to Gene play it all, Matty, but he's like me, only he's taking it about 100 steps higher. He's a monster player.
I was working a show with Korn at the Poda, and that drummer, some guy said, he used to play in a band with Deen Castronovo. And he goes, oh, really? He just like, almost like, I'm not worthy. Yeah, he was just raving about you.
Oh, no, dude, you know what? Ray, he said that I'm one of his biggest influences. And, dude, I mean, he smokes my ass. I mean, that guy's unbelievable. So it's like to hear that was like humbling. I'm like, but dude, come on, listen to you. No, he and I become really good friends, man. Ray's one of my favorite players, man, of our generation. But now that he's in Korn, he's finally getting his due. But dude, he played with David Lee Roth. He's not, Army of Anyone. He was a badass back then. And then when he got in Korn, dude, finally his light got to shine, and he's just ridiculous, Matty. He's ridiculous.
Hey, who was that guy? George? Was it George Bellis? You were recording with him in Portland, and he called me up and said, "This stuff is cooking my mind. I got to take a break. Can I come over?" And you came over, and
oh, dude, it was so intense. His stuff was all time signature stuff, and dude, I didn't know time signatures. The only time signature I knew was Rush Records. I mean, 7/4, stuff like that. Nothing is like. I was like, where the hell's one? Where and it was so thinking man. It was so thinking man's music, dude. It fried me. It did. It fried me. I couldn't grasp it. I'm a rock drummer, but that kind of stuff, dude, over my head. Like Mike Portnoy, amazing drummer. But
Mike
he knows you. All of that. Oh, dude, I love him.
I've talked to him, and he just raved about you for about 5 message things.
But see, that's the thing, man. He's so. I mean, if anybody could replace Neil Peart and Rush, he's the guy. That's all I got to say. Because he can do that and more. He's unbelievable, man. And what a songwriter. The guy writes all the lyrics for Dream Theater. And he's back in the band. I'm putting my shoes on. Sorry, Matty. But he's back in the band now, in Dream Theater.
Hey, Paul Gilbert lives in Portland now.
I heard, dude. I heard he did. There was a point when I was being talked to about possibly being the drummer in Mr. Big, after Pat died, which is, God rest in peace. He's a sweet guy, sweetest guy. But yeah, they were talking about him. But Paul's got, a drummer in town here that he uses that's in the band now in Mr. Big. But yeah, I knew Paul lived here. There's a lot of guys. Actually, Christian Martucci, who is the guitarist for Stone Sour, he lives in Bend. You got Chino Marino lives in Bend. I mean, all these people are from this area now. They all moved.
And
but Matt, we were here first. We were here first.
The bass player for Chuck Berry, Buck Cherry, he lives here too.
Oh yeah, Kelly, dude. Kelly and I grew up together here in Salem. He was in a band called, I think it was called Harlot. And he was a bass player back then. He was just a young kid, but dude, he's a monster player too. But Kelly's been here and shit. We grew up together.
I wanted to ask you this before you go.
Yes. Sir.
And what's it like? I mean, I see these pictures of you. Your face is bigger than the Wizard of Oz.
Look.
It's like, yeah. What's it like? Can you hear anything up there when you're playing arenas and stadiums?
Do I hear what? I mean, I've got the in-ears, bro. So I'm not hearing anything.
I've stood on the stage after my first stagehand gig was In Sync, and I thought, this place isn't that big when you got people in it. When it's empty, it looks like it's...
it's massive. You Yeah, I mean, you know how it is with. I don't know if you use in-ears with your stuff or not, man. But yeah, I'll tell you, in-ears have made things a lot better, a lot easier on me. I'm telling you, because when I was back in the Aussie days, I mean, I had 2 subwoofers, 215s, 212s, and a freaking horn. One of those freaking high-end horns for a monitor. It was like, oh, it just blew my head off. But now, man, you got the in-ears, you just turn it down. I mean, it's like, I don't hear much of drums. Because I got the drums right in front of me. So I don't hear them. I just hear it for the attack a little bit. So I hear what's going on attack-wise.
You know how
it's mostly
feels.
For me. No, dude. I got a butt kicker. You know what a butt kicker is?
Oh, yeah. He's put it on your throne.
Yeah, you put it on the throne, and so I can feel what I'm hitting bass drum-wise, but it's mostly guitar. Well, not really. Neil, I have guitar to know where I'm at.
Yeah.
I sing off of keyboards. That's what I'm singing off of. If I'm singing, I have to have the keyboards cranked because I sing off of that. That's where I get my pitch. So that's I pitch off of keyboards, and then a little bit of background vocals, a little bit of Arnell, and a lot of Todd.
So tell me about it. You've got a stadium tour with Def Leppard.
Yes.
Steve Miller, Heart,
Steve Miller,
Journey, and Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick, dude. It's going to be amazing.
I knocked Robin Zander over when they played here with Saxon in 1980.
Good job.
He was coming into the bathroom at Louis La Bamba's, the place we took our first picture.
Oh, La Bamba's, dude. I remember that.
And somebody said, "Hey, they're here." So I finished peeing. I always got to pee. I peed out the window
of the
van.
Man. We're getting old.
But I ran out and knocked him over. He's a little guy. I knocked Robert Plant over that night he played when they were looking at you too.
Dude, I love Cheap Trick. I remember when we did it was Heart, Cheap Trick, and Journey. I think it was 2008. I think it was. And Tom Peterson had an old Rickenbacker bass that he gave me at like a 74, I think it was. Cool. He gave me this Rickenbacker bass, and I've still got it to this day. But it's, yeah, dude. I mean, they were great people. And Bun, man, what a great drummer. But the funny is Rick's son, Dax, plays just like Bun on drums, just like him. It's crazy. It's crazy. The feel, everything, dude. Everything.
This is my Iceman.
Let me see. I can't see. You got to remember, dude, I don't have my glasses, so I'm blind as a freaking bat. Hold on. Let me find him. Hold on. How much I've got left? I got 5% left. We got some time. Go ahead.
Well, there's a guy named Kevin Gron. He had one made.
I know Kevin.
Yeah, and he
had
one made.
Him?
I don't know. I think it's called Harley Gron now, but he had one made. I believe it's because he liked Paul Stanley, and I traded him a Thunderbird bass for that guitar.
Yeah.
You see that?
Oh, dude, that's beautiful. That was his?
No, this is a Sam Topman model. I played the crap out of that guitar.
I bet you did. Good days.
For the Ravers, yeah.
The Ravers. Good band.
Let's see.
Very cool. You keep talking. I'm just gathering my stuff together because I'm going to have to go get my freaking charger. My daughter had surgery last night, dude. She up at OHSU. So Dee Dee just texted me and said she came out of surgery good. Everything is great. I'm like, that's fantastic news. That's good to know. So I'm happy about that. My little girl did, yeah.
Good. OHSU saved my life, and you're the only guy that called me in the hospital.
Oh, dude. Well, you know what, bro? That's kind of blows my mind, and it pisses me off that a lot of people did. Well, dude, you're family to me. I mean, even though we don't talk, there's sometimes we don't talk for a couple of years or a year or whatever. We can come back after not talking, and it's like we never left. We just pick up where we left off. But that's because we have a bond, bro. I mean, shit, dude. If it wasn't for you and Barney, none of it would happen with Neil. Because I moved down because of Barney, and if I hadn't met Barney, I met Barney through you. I mean, credit where credit's due, bro. And you're a brother to me. I never get when people go off the face of the earth and they walk away. And I mean, people get busy. I get busy. There's times when I can't talk or whatever. I'm scatterbrained or whatever. And there's so many people you meet on the road, but there are certain people in your life that you will remember and have touched you and have become a part of your chemistry and a part of your creative life. And you're one of those, man. Come on, pardon my language, but come on. Credit where credit's due.
Part of the deal with when we were doing Dr. Mastermind, he sent me Paul Gilbert, and that didn't work out. And then he said, "How about?" I said, how about Ingve? And Ingve wasn't available. And I said, he goes,
Right.
well, can you get Deen? I said, I think so. So I got a hold of
Yep.
you, and you said, sure. And I said, can you get him any work down there with session work? And he said, I can do better than that. I can get Tony McAlpine needs a drummer. And it's a
Dude,
pay.
no, that worked out so good, Matty. You know that, dude. I mean, I was doing records for Mike then for about, what is it? Give me a second. It was about, I think, $200 a record I would do for Mike. $200 a record. And I remember doing 3 in one day. 3, I did it. No, it was great, dude. I did a, what was it? Deep Purple tribute. I did a Rush tribute. And I did Tony's record, Premonitions, but that took a little longer. That wasn't like a day, but I started it. But yeah, man, I mean,
I said,
I'm very fortunate, Matty.
He said, I'll put some money in the budget if I get a guy with a truck, and I got some weirdo with a truck, hauled your stuff down.
Do you remember when we drove down there, all of us? Who was the little kid what was his name?
Clyde.
That passed away from heroin.
Clyde,
yeah.
Clyde
Heartbreaking, bro.
And
I remember that. What a great kid.
What's funny is Jerry's daughter got a hold of me on YouTube and said she loved the band Dr. Mastermind. And I said, I am Dr. Mastermind, and your dad's on the cover.
Oh, dude.
And she said,
I got to tell you this. I was doing an interview the other day, and one of the interviewers goes, mentioned you and Dr. Mastermind. I said, yeah, dude, if you look really close, because he knew who you were. I said, if you look really close, right next to him, up in the corner, there's a little gas mask, a black gas mask. And that's me underneath that. That's me. A lot of people didn't know that. So that's pretty cool, man.
I love that album, and I wrote the solo song for you to have. I thought nothing else. Here's a way to spotlight.
Dude, do you remember what Kerrang said though? Do you remember what they said about it? The drum solo was the most boring drum solo ever committed to vinyl. I never forgot that.
It was number 1 for 3 months in that magazine.
I know. What does that tell you, dude? What does that tell you? So, dude, what do we got here? I got to get in the car here. I got to go with this. I got 3%, bro. Do you want to reconvene on this and do a part 2?
We can do it another day.
I'll tell you what. You give me. No, we don't do another day. Give me like 20 minutes. I got to go grab my charger. It's over at my house. I'm here at Ashley's house.
I've got stuff to do. So why don't we do a second part next week?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Fair enough, dude. So, let's do this next week. Thursday.
Thank you, Dean. And
Happy New Year. And I want to interview you, dude. I want to ask you about stuff. So you've interviewed me and we've talked. I get the next one. Fair enough. I get the next one. I get to ask you questions because I don't know much about the ravers. I really don't, dude.
Okay. The guy that produced that record retired as the senior vice president of the entire Universal Music Division.
You're kidding, dude.
No, he started first he was JFK's publicist. He got shot.
Right.
He got a job at CBS and was working there and left with Clive Davis, and they started Arista. He worked for Arista, and in between that and moving from New York to L.A. to take over MCA, that's when he helped this guy in Portland start this independent label. And he was my friend until the day he died. I'd call up, and they'd know me, and they'd just pass me through.
Really?
Yeah. They said,
well, dude, you are Matt McCourt. I mean, come on. You are Matt McCourt.
That's my problem.
Dude, let me call you. I will call you next week. We'll talk a little bit more, but I got to head out.
Okay.
Run.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year.
See you, bro.
And
Happy New Year to you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you. See you later.
See you, buddy. Bye.
Bye.
See you, buddy. Bye.
See you, bye. Bye.
See you, bye. Bye.
Thanks a lot for coming on, Dean. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad we got this all here. And on the podcast, I've got Terry Wickham, a horror movie director that's going to be back on. We had some technical difficulties last time, but I got them figured out. I've had John Gallagher from Raven on my other podcast, U.S. Mental TV podcast. Madison Avenue, my brother, my funny comedian brother, has his own podcast. He's got this hilarious interview with a cat in rehab coming up. And on this podcast, I've got Mike Barney lined up for an interview. Alejandro Mercado, the drummer who plays with John 5. Well, he was playing with John until he joined Motley Crue, but they're back together getting ready for a new record and a new tour. They got a great song called Ghosts. Bill Abercrombie, I think, will make it on here. I'm trying to get some other people. I've got quite a list, and I'm not going to stop because it's a lot of fun to do this, and hopefully you're having fun too. So thank you for watching. If you're watching this on cable access TV in Portland, Oregon, yeah, thank you very much. So visit my website, usmetal.com, and I'll talk to you next time. You're telling me... Wait a minute, that's not the name of the song. This is the name of the song. Tell me about it. Come on to my show. And, yeah, if you got something you want to promote, come on to my show and tell me about it. All right. Happy New Year. We'll see you next time.